Hello and welcome to this new topic on ensuring data privacy and compliance. And the first lecture of that in this course, data analysis and data analytics. So in this section, we'll help you get an in-depth view of how to ensure data privacy and compliance. And the first part of that is to look at, how to follow two laws, GDPR and CCPAs, and other industry standards. So let's understand that, following GDPR, CCPA, and industry standards help you maintain ethical and responsible data use by ensuring data privacy and compliance. So the question that you and I both have is how to follow GDPR, CCPA, and industry standards. Now, first, let's understand the importance of doing this. So ensuring data privacy and compliance with regulations like GDPR and CCPA. GDPR standing for General Data Protection Regulation and CCPA standard for California Consumer Privacy Act. Are, first both these laws and the compliance with them is important for businesses handling customer data. So if your business has customer data that you need to protect, you need to, in terms of their privacy and compliance, then these two laws are important. Now, how can you achieve this compliance? Let us take a look at the steps that you need to take. The first is to understand these key regulations. The GDPR is EU focused, European Union focused. It protects personal data, mandates explicit consent, and grants individuals the right to access, correct, and delete their data. So that's in summary the GDPR. The CCPA is US based in California regulation, and that gives consumers the right to know what personal data is collected by the company, to opt out of the data sales, and request deletion. And then there are industry standards like HIPAA for healthcare and PCI DSS for payment security that ensure data handling best practices for specific sector. HIPAA is for health and similarly is PCI. So first we need to understand these key regulations. Having understood, you need to implement data governance policies, and for that you need to define who can access, modify, and process the sensitive data. It's all about sensitive data. So who all can access, modify, and process that data. Then you need to maintain data retention policies to store and delete data as per legal requirements. And then use data classification to separate personal, sensitive, and public data. So that's how you need to implement the data governance policies. Then you need to strengthen the data security measures. Now, there are a couple of things you can do is to encrypt personal and sensitive data both at rest in and in transit, right? And use role-based access control, RBAC, to restrict data usage to authorized people only. And then doing that, you need to regularly conduct security audits to identify your vulnerabilities. What are the areas that you are or you may become vulnerable in meeting the data security regulations? The fourth thing is to obtain explicit user content. And for that, you need to do few things like you need to design transparent data policies that explain, data collection, storage, and sharing practices with sharing practices with the users, and also implement opt-out mechanisms, especially for marketing and tracking cookies, and also provide easy opt-out, you know, options and data deletion options. So you need to provide such explicit user, facilities and obtain consent from them on using their data. Then you need to maintain compliance documentation. Once you do compliance, you also need to maintain the document. You need to keep records of, few things like consent data, con- uh, consent logs, data protection assessments that you have done, and third-party data sharing agreements. Then you need to develop an incident response plan for data breaches. If the data breach will happen, what would your team and you do? And they regularly update privacy policy and ensure employees are trained on compliance. Because whole idea is to maintain these compliances, and so you need to maintain these documentation. To help you do that, you can automate compliance checks. And very interestingly, there you can use data loss prevention (DLP) tools to monitor and prevent, unauthorized access of data. And you can implement privacy impact assessment (PIAs). You can come back and look at this later for new data related projects and utilize AI driven compliance tools to flag potential non compliance risks. So these are few things you can do to automate compliance. So let's conclude. So by proactively integrating these compliance measures, right from understanding regulations to implementing governance policies, strengthening security measures, obtaining explicit user consent, maintaining compliance on the documentation and automation. Businesses can build customer trust, avoid hefty fines, and ensure data is handled responsibly as per the required regulations. So what do we do next? So having looked at how to follow GDPR, CCPA, and other industry standards, we will now take a look at how to implement encryption, anonymization, and access control that we talked about in this lecture to ensure data privacy and compliance in the next lecture. So thank you so much for watching this first lecture on ensuring data privacy and compliance. I hope you're continuing to learn new things, continuing to enjoy, and I do look forward to see you again in the next lecture. Please feel free to message me if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer your questions and do download the PDF file to take a look at anything that you need to.